Well, welcome back to our coaching volleyball class. And in this short video, I just want to share with you an overview of the coaching philosophy paper that's assigned for you for this week. So as we consider your paper, I want you to think of keeping it short and succinct. You have lots of ideas, lots of values and beliefs that you could write about, but putting it all on one page, I think, is helpful, providing a succinct, clear, short overview to your coaching philosophy. Will be something you can hand out to parents and players and administrators, and won't take them a long time to get an idea of where you're coming from. So a one-page statement. Start with a broad mission statement, and then write out 3 to 5 objectives that you feel are important that you would want to accomplish through your coaching. And then I would say finish up with some ideas of what players can expect, they can learn from you, or what will be stressed on your teams. I think it's important to them to know what type of coach you are, and if they play for you, what are they getting into? So think of providing broad concepts of your philosophy that provides the foundation and direction then as you get into the more specific areas of coaching. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this will be something that you will return to and tweak often. So even as you write this one-page paper, I encourage you to write it out, let it sit for a day or two, go back to it, revise it, tweak it before you turn in your final copy. Here are just some examples of philosophy statements that I found online, and so let me share them with you. Here's a statement: great coaches are teachers. That could be a mission statement. And then talking about great coaches are teachers by teaching them the skills of the sport, by teaching players how to play within a team concept, by teaching players how to make good decisions, by teaching players not to be afraid to fail, by teaching players character values, and then just teaching them to be successful, not just as players, but as people. So great coaches are teachers. And obviously, great Christian coaches are going to be teaching about eternal lessons. What really matters. Volleyball is just a game. It's a fun game. And it's a game I've been involved with a long time. But at the end of the day, there is just temporal benefit. But what can we glean eternally as we work with our players? So great coaches are teachers, and this is a philosophy statement that could be developed from that. So as we talk about being a successful coach, let's compare what a successful coach is from a world's perspective and from a biblical worldview. Again, could be a philosophy. If I want just to be a successful coach from the world's view, then how much do I win? How successful am I in the win-loss column? How good am I at motivating players? For a college coach, can I recruit successfully? Do I have good financial support from my administration, from my institution? If I do, then I'm considered successful. I have all the latest equipment and facilities up to date, state of the art. Then I must be a successful coach. If I graduate my players at a high rate, in many people's eyes, that would mean I'm a successful coach. If I have the respect of my players and peers, if I mentor others in the field of coaching. Again, all these are not initially bad, but it's more of what the world would view as being a successful coach. On the other side, what would it mean to be a successful Christian coach? Now, again, all the things that we just talked about, we could agree that makes a coach somewhat successful from the world's perspective. But from a Christian worldview, I think a successful coach obviously loves God, they love others, and they love coaching. I think that's a great order to go by, too. A real love, true love for God, who He is, what He's done, a true love for others, and then loving what you do, loving the coaching realm. I think you need to love the game um, with a passion that is, again, balanced with eternity in view. Um, I don't think it's wrong to love competition. I think there's a sense that God created us with that need to compete. The challenge is trying to be better at something, trying to, be successful, trying to achieve something. I think a successful Christian coach also recognizes the highs of winning, but knowing that there's going to be the lows of defeat. We used to say the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, but I think especially from a Christian perspective, we can really grasp and embrace this concept. Jesus Christ was the best example here. His death on the cross would have been considered the greatest of all defeats, and yet just a few days later he arose from the tomb, and that was the greatest victory of all. So keeping everything in perspective. And I just think when we consider being a successful coach, from a Christian perspective, that's the key. To keep everything in balance, to recognize the highs and lows of the game, to recognize the pros and cons of the game, to recognize the great ministry coaching is, and the opportunity we have to use it for eternal value. Some other ideas is, obviously, as a coach, if I'm going to be successful, I want every one of my players to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I want them to use those God-given talents the Lord has given them to glorify Him. I want them to have great respect for teammates, opponents, officials, and coaches. And ultimately, I want my players to go on and serve God in their lives wherever they end up. I want to finish up again. We're just talking about different philosophy statements. And John Wooden, who was a believer but coached at UCLA for many, many years, is very well known for his pyramid of success. And I think this is a great example of how he was able to, in a very succinct way, capture what his philosophy of coaching was. And his mission statement would be there at the top right: success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. And then from that mission statement, John Wooden then built his pyramid of success. And as you look through the different blocks of the pyramid, again, each one of those would lay a foundation for a philosophical paper. So as you do consider writing your paper, again, keep it one page, be succinct, and follow what I've asked for you to do. And I encourage you to write it out, lay it aside for a day or two, come back to it, make some modifications, revisions before you're turning in your final copy. If you have any questions, just let me know.